Thank you so much, Emberlin. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Business Morning on Sunrise Daily. And we do business for just about 30 minutes before we head back to the Sunrise Daily studio. We start usually from the global space. That's where we're starting this morning. Oil prices edge higher in early trade on Wednesday on uncertainty over what may happen next in the Middle East conflict after demand concerns knocked the market to its lowest since early October in the previous session. Keeping our eyes on the numbers this morning, we see Brent rose 14 cents, that's about 0.2% to $74.39 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures added 19 cents, that's about 0.3% to $70.77. Oil prices tumbled more than 4% to a near two-week low on Tuesday because of weaker demand outlook, and after a media report said that Israel would not strike Iranian nuclear and oil sites, and that eased fears of supply disruption. So there you have the numbers right there, 0.2%. $74.39 a barrel for Brent. WTI also green, 0.3% at $70.77. And just continuously about $4 difference for those two commodities, and we know that uncertainty is also feeding on that. But the market is also looking at some data. That'll be U.S. crude inventories for data that's expected later on today. That will give a little bit of direction to investors in the oil space. And from there, we look at the Naira. Yesterday, there was no CBN intervention in the Naira, and that showed huge drop with what we saw. Can you imagine on an end firm that the market went from 1,552 Naira 92 kobo, which is what the Naira opened with, but closed at 1,658 Naira 97 kobo. More than 108 Naira is what was lost yesterday. You know, kind of makes, I don't know, the value of the Naira artificial. That's a 6.83% loss in one trading session. Well, the inverse was the case for NAFEX, even though we do know that this is where we capture the reality when it comes to Nigeria's Naira, the value of the Naira. And then, of course, CBN is expected to intervene perhaps before the close of today. Yesterday, after 2 consecutive months of decline, Nigeria's headline inflation rate came out, and it shows that it's back on trending upwards. And according to that latest report by the National Bureau of Statistics, the rate rose by 0.55%. That's month on month. So headline inflation in the country is now 32.7%. It was 32.15% in August. And this was largely driven by higher cost of transportation and food prices following the hike in petrol prices. I know that's a reality for all of us, announced last month by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. So there you have it. Food inflation at 37.52%, headline at 32.15%, food inflation at 37.52%. Core inflation we see at 27. Core inflation is outside food and transport. Then urban inflation, of course, in the urban area, and then the rural area. So I wonder if this is for a short time, perhaps just the adjustment to the new PMS price, which of course we know the impact spreads everywhere, or if they were back on the trending side of inflation in Nigeria. But of course, time will tell. The coming months will tell us about that. Unexpectedly, there's been reaction to the inflation numbers. The Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, the CPP, has reacted to that rebound in the country's inflation rate. In a statement released by its CEO, Dr. Muda Yusuf, the CPP explains that inflationary pressure has remained unsolved because key drivers have not been effectively subdued, while noting the numerous issues on the supply side, issues as a factor for higher inflation. Dr. Yusuf recommends that the government needs to urgently fix issues relating to power, logistics, and forex, as well as food security, in order to put it under control. Now, while that's still our reality, the other issue in the news is that the chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, has called for a shift in the tax burden from the poorer citizens to the wealthier individuals as part of efforts to increase government revenue. Mr. Oyedele made this call at the Revenue Assurance Summit with the Internal Revenue Services of all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, and it was organized by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit in Abuja.
The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, convened its inaugural National Revenue Assurance Summit, bringing together key stakeholders to discuss improving domestic revenue mobilization, explore innovative ways to boost revenue generation, and address the challenges faced by state government. Prominent attendees include the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, representatives of the Independent and Corrupt Practices Commission and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and executive chairs of Internal Revenue Services from all states and the Federal Capital Territory. The Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, Mrs. Hafsat Bakari, in her opening remarks called for innovative strategies to boost the economy, diversify revenue, and tackle tax evasion.
While our work on tax crimes initially focused on supporting the Federal Inland Revenue Service, we took a step further to explore partnerships with subnational counterparts. This expansion was predicated on the recognition that the vast majority of tax evasion happens at the state level. We have also developed, using our in-house technical resources, a secure platform for requesting and receiving intelligence from the NFIU, the Crimes Record Information Management System.
The chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, gave the keynote address, highlighting the need to create a more equitable and sustainable tax system, benefiting both citizens and the country at large.
The number we have also gives us the optimism and the hope that we can ramp up our revenue significantly, even from tax, by protecting the vulnerable people. So those who have been paying have been mostly the poorest people. That's why the revenue is small. So protect those people, give them exemptions, and then allow the people who have ability to pay to start paying. And that's where the money will come from. And it's in our enlightened self-interest for the elites and the upper middle class to pay taxes, because that way, when they pay taxes, they will not have to incur implicit taxes of running their own local government in their own houses, which is more expensive.
The summit provides a platform for frank discussions and is expected to contribute significantly to improving Nigeria's revenue base and promote economic growth.
And as countries move to reduce carbon emissions to achieve less than 2% global warming, stakeholders in Africa's renewable energy sector are calling for higher investment in renewable energy infrastructure. According to the Director General of the International Renewable Energy Agency, the time to ramp up investment is now, as debt and inflation risks persist. Made this comment at the ongoing Accelerated Partnership for Renewables in Africa Investment Forum, which is still ongoing in Nairobi.
Seeing that when the Ukrainian crisis started with the invasion by Russia, renewables have accelerated that part. Because tension makes evidence that a decentralized energy system is more resilient to risk. So countries that become more resilient are going faster to a decentralized energy system, where there are more suppliers, the market is more functioning, less dependency. So the global tension reduces naturally the capacity to invest, because of money will go to fund the countries instead of funding the economy. But in relative terms, renewables will be the least impacted of this.
And that interview was conducted by Laddie Williams, who is still in Nairobi, Kenya. We expect him soon, perhaps next week. Now, let's get to one issue at hand. Yesterday, the managing director of TETFund was a guest on Politics Today to discuss what they have achieved so far with the students' loan, which has gotten a lot of Nigerians excited. But of course, there's also been some complaints coming from there. And he did share some numbers. The fact that about 370,000 students have registered, and less than that, about 200 less than that, have been onboarded, applied for the loans and all of that, and about 10 billion has been disbursed as loans. Well, we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more now with the chairman of TETFund National Research Fair Committee, Engineer Umar Binde, joins us from Abuja studio. Engineer, doctor, you are all of it. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the show.
Very good morning. Thank you so much.
Great. So this conversation about students' fund, loans, and all of that, we know that the TETFund MD was on our sister program, Politics Today, last night, and gave us the status and all of that. And also, of course, TETFund is a part of this. I learned about 30% of your proceeds are supposed to go into that student loan. Could you help us understand this funding and the relationship between TETFund and TETFund?
Well, thank you very much. You know, TETFund literally now is a household name. For the last 10 to 20 years, it's been intervening in tertiary institutions, supporting that particular sector to have fantastic infrastructure that can be able to push the tertiary institutions to perform very well. They are also into establishing laboratories and workshops and equipping them, again, to make sure that teaching is well done, research is well done, and so on and so forth. They're also supporting staff development and training. But most importantly, TETFund over the last possibly 10, 12, 15 years has voted a reasonable amount of money and directly supports researchers in tertiary institutions, public tertiary institutions, universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, and research institutes. And these researchers will do fantastic research. They use it for their promotions from one level to the higher levels. They go to conferences, they publish papers, and they're doing very well. Absolutely very well. In fact, in the whole continent, Nigeria now is recording the highest rate of promotion of young people to the professorial level on the basis of performance aligned to the interventions and support of TETFund. However, that large crop of PhD holders, even full professors, fantastic researchers, beautiful research facilities, TETFund realized that it's not really reflecting its impact on the common man. You know, while we have all that capacities and capabilities, poverty is still rising high. Unemployment is also there. And so TETFund said, look, the outputs of this research and development is technologies, methodologies, things that are expected to change the landscape of our economy is not moving there. So this committee has been set by TETFund, courtesy of very full support of the Honorable Minister, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, and most especially the Executive Secretary and his team, to ensure that we now filter all these research outputs from these universities, whether public or private, polytechnics, colleges of education, and research institutions, filter them and find out the ones that are matured for people to take and do something with it, for things that can upgrade the performance of existing industry so that they can employ more people, they can produce better, more quality and cheaper, you know, so that we can be able to also literally affect the implementation of the renewed hope of Mr. President, you know, in terms of revamping the economy, generating employment, creation of wealth, and so on and so forth. So literally, What we're expected to do is to filter these technologies, screen them, and then display them at the Eagle Square for this year. And we're in the process of doing that. The show will start on the 17th of November. It will be there for 5 days, and we're expecting a lot of Nigerians to show interest. Young people who are unemployed should come and see opportunities to get something to engage themselves. Funders, the banks, the development bank, the Bank of Agriculture, Bank of Industry, Central Bank should come and see the possibilities of real funding at every level to support the government and employ people and create wealth. We are expecting, businesses under the MAN, NASI, NASIMA, and all the other organizations to come and see things that actually can raise the numbers of their people and also the performance of their companies. And we're expecting even non-governmental organizations, the National Council of Women's Societies, all these NGOs and so on and so forth, to come and see the possibilities of this linkage between research and then our people. So literally, it's a corner for Nigeria to say that, look, produce technology, use your own technology, employ yourselves, create wealth and jobs so that we can be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, Dr. Bindi, I have to tell you, even personally, this sounds exciting because when we go to the academy in Nigeria, we see a lot of research, results, knowledge. They seem to die as ideas. So having this connection of knowledge from the academy to reality is obviously an exciting one. But people would like to know the process that would earn their trust that indeed the listing, the contacting, those who would be there, who have been chosen, because obviously if you're having the event on November 17, you have started the process before now. Who are those who've been involved? What has been the process to ensure that only the best come out at the end of the day?
Well, if I catch you very well, the sound is a bit cracky, but everything of this nature is you have to nurture it with very strong commitment, encourage people to participate so that you put people to complement each other, to support each other, and we have to believe in our country and the leadership to make sure you do that. So what the committee, this is committee of 12 professorial level, very high people. Many of them were vice chancellors before. They know the environment. All the memberships of this committee are actually people who have done research over their career completely. They know what we're talking about. Unfortunately, in our country, this knowledge resource, these capacities that we have, we're not mining it very, very well. I can honestly tell you for free that if you go to any first-generation university, Ahmadu Bello University, University of Ibadan, and so on and so forth, and you ask them within the 10-year period, for the last 10-year period, show me the number of papers or reports, conference presentations, journal publications that you have done over these years, it probably would fill a lecture theater. But if you ask the question, out of all this knowledge, how much of it is helping our farmers to produce better? How much of it is encouraging dairy farming in Nigeria? How much of it is making young people manufacture equipment to power small-scale farms, like was being discussed? Then you start getting questions. This connection is the difference between industrialized countries and developing countries. And this is what TETFund deliberately wants to crack and create that linkage. That valley of death, we have to build the bridge. So this is a maiden activity. It is not going to stop this year. We hope that possibly if we continue this commitment, if we continue this professional treatment, in the next 5 years, we will also create a function like the Guangzhou when you go to China. We want to see Ghanaians coming to Nigeria to acquire technology, software for their hospitals, software for their education system, equipment for their agriculture, medicine for their hospitals, and so on and so forth. We want to see Cameroonians rushing and waiting for the Nigerian annual TED research fair to come and gather things to take to their country. We want to see Europeans coming here to invest, but not to bring their technology from their home countries. They will find standard technology in Nigeria so that they can use it, make money, but Nigerians also will make money. We want to see our professors to become also people who are comfortable. They're driving nice cars. They're living in fantastic houses, courtesy of the transfer of their technology to industry, and they're getting royalties. So the way to do this is not easy, but the way it is doable, and it's doable easily. We can make it look easy. We've contacted all these people, and we have now so far, I'm happy to report that we've gotten over 2,000 entries, even within the very short period of time of advert. And we're now screening them, and we're seeing impressive technologies that can actually come and change lives. We've encouraged the intellectual property community, the Registry of Patent and Trade Industrial Design, the Registry of Trademark, the Copyright Commission, NOTAB, all of them to come and deliver their own assistance to people who want to protect their technology so that when they transfer, they can get the benefit. We've spoken to the industrial sector to come so that they can be able to see opportunities to create more industry for Nigeria from the small, medium, and so on. We've invited SMEDAN to come and see how they can build capacity, arrange for all this feasibility, and so on and so forth. We're talking to NDE to come and see how do they generate those employments to these young graduates, non-graduates, using Nigerian technology. So literally, this is a turning point. This is not new. Expos are not new in Nigeria. We see Ministry of Science and Technology doing week-long expos. We see Raw Materials Research and Development doing their annual. NOTAP is doing their annual. Every university where they have convocation, there is there. Professional organizations like Society of Engineers, lawyers, architects, and so on, they do exhibitions. But those exhibitions have not, I'm sorry to say, realized the objective of showcasing technology. This is a different one, to say that it is the master of all expos, to make sure that what you display actually turns out to be a reality, also to raise the value and the confidence and level of respect for our country. So this is the ingredients of it. When people will come, it is free to enter, it is free to display your products, but you have to register. We have a portal. We want to start doing things formally, not this market way of doing things, open market way of doing things. You have to fill a form, and that form has the formal institutions form and the informal institutions forms. What I mean by that is the universities, polytechnics, and so on are formal, but then you have these young people, and you see them on TikTok and Facebook. They're creating things that are fantastic, useful, including up to even drones. There too, they can fill the form and then come and showcase that. I heard the former Minister of Police Affairs talking about revamping the police force. Nigerian inventors, they've invented and even built and tested drones. Drones alone, you can use that to totally transform the work of the police force and the road safety, and so on and so forth. So literally, it is going to be there. Everybody is invited. They can come. It's free. And it is going to be Eagle Square from 17th of November to 22nd. And we will all be there, and we will create a fantastic environment. We've even invited the Innovate. If you're going on the airport road, you'll see Innovate. Fantastic facility that demonstrates from the beginning to the end of the evolution of technology. They too, they will be there to serve as a catalyst, as a showcase that it is happening in Nigeria and it can happen better.
So where do they get this form? How do they get the form?
Sorry?
The form. How can that be accessed? Form.
If you type NRF for National Research Fund TETFund.gov.org, or one of them anyway. So it's nrf.tetfund.gov.org.gov. I think it's gov before org or something like that. But these two, you can retry it, and then it will open the portal. You will see the forms free of charge. You click, and then you can fill it and click submit. and then all of it. You can even upload your videos. You can upload your pictures onto that to showcase that it's real. You can even speak to it and then upload all that. So once you get to that portal, it opens. You'll see instantly what you see are the two forms. Instantly. It's very simple. You click open, the one that is relevant to you, the form will come up, and then you will fill the things. It's very simple, and then you upload whatever you want. It's very simple. You click submit, and we will get it. It will be among the bits and pieces that we already have, and we can screen it, and we can keep you in touch so that you know if your technology is selected or it is not.
So what are the incentives for investors? We hear the incentive for, the innovators themselves, either from the academy or from the informal as you've described them. What about for the investors that you have invited? What's the incentive for them to come?
It's cracking. If you can repeat it, sorry about that.
I was asking what you think can attract the investors to also be part of this program, apart from the innovators who obviously want funding for their innovations to grow. What about the investors? What's there to attract them?
Well, you see, in other climes, when you announce this and you say that, look, we're creating an ecosystem or an environment where you can see technology that can improve your performance, that can make your manufacturing easy, that can ensure that you make more money, people will run to it, even if you don't ask anything. That is enough investment, attraction or motivation. In other climes, when you say young people who are unemployed, you are screaming and crying all over the place of unemployment. Public system cannot absorb all of you. You have to do something. You have to walk your way through it. And then somebody says, hey, come and see the solar systems that you can be able to provide electricity in homes in rural areas. You will be taught how to manufacture it, how to put it together, even how to market it. You will make money, and the inventor also will make money. I think people should run to it so that they can be able to get the benefits. But specifically because we know, just like you asked, anytime you come up with this kind of initiative, people will start think it is the government that is doing it, and they will do the government a favor to come and participate. We have to change that too. We have to transform our thinking in line with the expectation of our leaders and to put our country to the highest level. So the benefit to the investors, you have your money you want to invest, you can come, you will get all the information about the inventions, how they work, how they can fit with new or existing industry, and there will be lawyers, intellectual property specialists, business managing specialists there that will give you free information so that you can be able to start discussing on how you can work together. That should be an attraction for the private sector. For the inventors to bring, the attraction for them is that don't patent or perfect your technology and sit with it at home. It's not going to, it is a liability. It's not going to help you. So you come and you can be able to get people to take it up, and then you can have benefits, and you can get money and personality and everything. So This is the ecosystem of partnership, and I hope Nigerians will take it.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Umar Obinde. You're an engineer, you're a doctor. As you said, intellectuals fill that committee, chairman of TETFund National Research Fair Committee, and we wish you the best in your outing.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
All right, just a couple of numbers from the close of trade yesterday before we head back to Sunrise Daily. The market retained the green color, the positive sentiment, and the all-share index was up 0.33%. About 197 billion was added to the market cap, and it's still thanks to Aradel. Aradel's movement or addition to the market is still bringing some glow right there. So 197 billion was added there. We look at the activity chart, and we see mostly green deals 9,650. The sectors, banking was down yesterday. It was because of FBN Holdings anyway. And then Dangote Sugar is back on the gaining trend. It drove one of the stocks that drove the market, the counter to 0.07, while as expected, because of Aradel, the oil and gas was positive 0.13%. So just join me 1 p.m. later on today, Business Incorporated. I'll give you intraday numbers. Another conversation waiting for you at that time. It will be 55 minutes of doing business on Business Incorporated. Let's head back to the Sunrise Daily Studio.